All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Christopher Marks, and I get to talk to you guys about some cool stuff at ImageQuix with our product. We're going to look back in our first track here at the accomplishments we did in 2020. And then we're going to, in the next 30-minute block, talk a little bit about what's the future at ImageQuix looking like and what are we planning to do in our 2021 roadmap this year. So who am I? I am Chris Marks. I've been at ImageQuix for about 7 years, coming up on my 7th year this year. I work as VP of product, and so I closely work with the development team here. I, do a lot of internal and customer communications and feedback amongst ourselves to kind of determine and figure out what we'll be working on and managing those projects throughout the year. So this is kind of where we'll talk about what we kind of accomplished in this past year that was a key highlight to the year. And then also I lead the design of a lot of our products and product suites, the user experience that you guys get to take firsthand. So I'm kind of integral in that process as well. And so, yeah, I'm excited to talk about what kind of our highlights were this past year. So let's look at our agenda. So I'm going to kind of talk through a few buckets of items here with you guys. One kind of section, that's super important to us, like you ask for it and we listen. So we're continually taking in your guys' feedback consistently throughout the year. We kind of review this biannually and kind of adjust and see where we fall through the work we're doing each year. So whenever you guys report to us and we take it in, trust us, we use it, and it's super important to us. And so there's a section on you ask, we listen. So we're going to talk through some of those. This past year, we introduced, I think at the very beginning of the year, one of the key integrations between ImageQuix ourselves and Photolinx. So we're going to talk a little bit about that integration and what that meant, and we'll walk through just a little bit of that process. And then, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about what we did in 2020 building for the future. We definitely have the horizon in our foresights, and so we're constantly looking to innovate and push our products further and further. And so we'll see what we did in 2020 to do that. And then in the next block, we'll talk about what we're doing this year to kind of keep building for the future. So yeah, let's jump right in and look back at all the exciting stuff that we did this past year. So digital downloads. I know you guys have heard, we've heard as our number one kind of feedback from you guys is that digital download resolutions are too small. So I can only imagine what you guys have heard on your side with customers complaining to you, and then it finally gets to us. So this was our number one feedback item in 2019. And so we definitely brought it to the forefront in 2020, and we've increased the resolution of those digital downloads by 47%. They used to be capped at 3,200 pixels the long way, and we actually raised that to be to the source image size. So this got a significant boost to the resolution there, and we'll just send the source size out. This is completely configurable, so this was an adjustment that was just in addendum to the other sizes that you can offer. You can always offer the smaller sizes for whatever you're selling as social media or smaller ones. And then another big one that we kind of switched the way that the current digital download delivery system works. They used to not hold at all for image services such as like retouching or even like a green screen knockout or something. Those kind of image services in our system, they were being ignored by digital downloads, and they were immediately being delivered to the customers. So one of the big items that we did last year was that we really wanted this to be an opportunity that you guys had to upsell more retouchings for those digital delivery products and really boost the average order values for our system. So this was an awesome one that we got to. So anytime you guys have like a retouching or a lab is doing a retouching for you on your behalf, like any of those items, they'll be held, the digital delivery will be held until those items are completed, and then it'll finally finish and deliver to the customer retouched and looking all great. So that's kind of a cool one that for digital downloads that we hit that year. The next one up is some big price sheet improvements. So previously in our system, price sheets had a few caveats when you were trying to edit certain products. there was a kind of a lock concept that happened in our system prior to this past year, where if you had an order taken on one of the products, we kind of locked it down in our system to protect it from, you know, future fulfillment of that product, or if it was ordered, if it hadn't been fulfilled yet, then we want to make sure that we had that product for the lab to actually fulfill it. So this was something we had to kind of rethink data and structurally, that we took a nice complicated data and made it simpler for ourselves. And we were actually able to unlock a lot of potential here. And so you now in our system from 2020, this was delivered middle of the year last year. Since then, you've been able to edit those products, even if they've been ordered. There's only two small rules that apply here. We do limit the actual node editing of these products. So you can't delete any node that you've already created and that product's been ordered. So think of the scenario where someone's ordered that product and you deleted the node, and then now they go to try to fulfill it, but that node no longer exists. So the product couldn't fulfill on the lab side. So we protect against that case. And then we also protect that you can't change the actual ratio of the node size. So that image node size, you can't go and change the width and length to break the certain ratio that you originally had the product set up for. So that means it's largely a little bit on the lab side, where this was a big improvement for the labs. But if any of you guys create, you know, custom My Designs in Blueprint, or if you self-fulfill any of your own products, then this was also a huge improvement in our catalog and price sheet behavior world. So that was definitely a highlight of last year, and a source of a lot of good feedback from you guys in getting us to this, you know, new functionality set. And the last one in this section was a major integration that happened at IQ last year. You know, we hear year over year about the time it takes for us to kind of get payouts in our system. And the hold is just too long, and we completely agree, and it's great feedback. And so what we did was we really went after trying to make payout management as easy and as possible for you, and you get the most control you've ever gotten here at ImageQuix with our Stripe integration. So what that means for you guys in terms of the benefits that you get. So in US customer holdings, we give daily payouts with a 2-day hold. So if you had taken orders on Monday, those orders would get paid out on a Wednesday. So it's only a 2-day hold. It's as competitive and as fast as we can possibly make that. And if you're Canadian, then it's going to be a 7-day hold. So the same example of Monday orders are taken, the following Monday, those orders will be paid out. So this is really as competitive as we can make it. We're not holding on to your money any longer than we have to via the Stripe platform. So this was an awesome improvement. You guys get daily payouts. The money flows much smoother, and it's great. The next one that's a huge benefit is the ability to manage your own refunds. So in partial and full refunds, you now have complete control inside of Blueprint. So you can just go into Blueprint, either the order tabs from the gallery side or your global orders tab, and you can select individual orders, and you can just click on a refund right then and there if they're a credit card order through your Stripe platform. So this makes it so much easier. I know the previous process had to do with the change of hands between you know, our customer service team and then directly working with you guys and getting a list of those orders. Now you guys have full control. The downtime is so much smaller. You guys can completely manage that, and the customers are happy. You guys are happy, and so it's just a great win around across the board. And then one of the other big ones that we're highlighting here is there's a whole new notification system, both from the customer perspective, from the shoppers themselves, and then also we've developed several new notifications to send to you guys. So whenever a refund happens, the customer is notified as well as the studio, and you have the potential to even loop in the lab and send them a notification to say, like, do something with this order in particular, take it off the line, or don't ship it yet, or any of those like meaningful process or meaningful items that could save you potential money. You know, we give you that ability directly in Blueprint. So these were like some of the major highlights of what that Stripe integration did for us. A couple other ones that are a little bit lower than these key benefits, but being on a platform such as Stripe, you get the industry of their fraud protection and how long they've been in the industry. So that helps for higher credit card success rates across the board. We've seen that as we've started transitioning customers to Stripe. So that's awesome and a great win for integrating with such a big company. And then also you have some advanced permissions for refund and payout management. So now you have control in your studio to choose who at the studio can do refunds, who can edit the payout management of Blueprint and all of that great stuff. So you guys have full control to have a customer service team dedicated to this, and they don't have access to other sides of your business, including your galleries and images and all that great stuff. So really a nice opportunity there to kind of split up how your internal operations go. And then also one that's a big one that we've heard year over year is that, on our credit card statements, you'll see photo checkout if you aren't already switched to Stripe. And, photo checkout is kind of our payout management system that we're trying to lean towards Stripe now. And all the credit card receipts and all of the card statements would say photo checkout. And we would get calls constantly that, the customers had no clue who they ordered from. And so this will now show your own studio's websites, I think, in the sign up process. And we have the potential to make this configurable sometime here in the future. But this will actually show your branding. It will not show from photo checkout. And this should cut back a lot on, accidental refunds or anything that we get from our system that, they didn't know who they were ordering from. So many big wins here. This was a very large project that we took on last year. I think we delivered it right towards the beginning of fall. I think it fell like in August, September. If you haven't switched to Stripe and you use Blueprint, I would strongly recommend you doing that. It's packed full of these feature sets. There will be emails, going out soon later this year talking about how the migration will look if you haven't been switched over and when potentially we would like everyone to be over on Stripe. So that's to follow, but take advantage of all these benefits and, hop on the Stripe wagon. Cool. So that was kind of items that were big in our year that you guys had asked for. The section was more of a highlight. It does not necessarily cover at all how much we did last year. I glossed over the first slide. I meant to mention that, last year, I think we released about 35 Blueprint releases. So all of those emails that you get whenever we've pushed a new a release out, you guys will see those are the big kind of releases that we're talking about. So we did 35 of those last year, and they're consistently chock full of any bug fixes that have been reported from either internally or you guys, and also some improvements to some of our existing functionality, and then obviously new features when they fall out. So it was definitely a busy year. We tried to take as much advantage of 2020 as we could and really pushing our product forward. So the next section that we'll go over is, what PhotoLinks and ImageQuix kind of did in 2020 together. So we kind of introduced at the very beginning of the year one of the slickest integrations between the two companies. So currently the integration between PhotoLinks and ImageQuix it's a one-sided integration, meaning that PhotoLinks pushes their data to us in our cloud, and we do not push any data back currently. So if you're a PhotoLinks user, if you use Flow or Plik, then you can actually push those projects directly to Blueprint and ImageQuix, and then leverage all of the great benefits of our shopping cart, our marketing, and all that. So we're looking at further integration. If you stick around for the next 30-minute half, I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing in terms of the integration for next year. But this past year was kind of this one-directional flow where all of the PhotoLinks projects get pushed to Blueprint. You can't edit any of the data, image data, subject data, any of the job-specific data. You can't edit that on the ImageQuix side. But any update that you do on the PhotoLinks side, you can just re-push that data. And so it'll continue to get updates and stay as synced as it possibly can be in a one-directional flow. So this was something awesome. It's unlocked a lot of great potential for PhotoLinks users. You know, if you're a current Blueprint user, there's not a major feature set for integration on going the opposite direction right now. However, you can do a lot of cool stuff with the Plick product suite in terms of, you know, just exporting out of ImageQuicks's world and getting into their product suite, because they offer such a great amount of different items and different products to leverage. So if you have any kind of specific interest in the PhotoLinks to ImageQuicks integration, I would definitely say jump into one of our booths. I think Kaylin is actually giving a presentation at 2:30 Eastern. If you guys want to stick around to these master classes, they'll actually give a full demo of what that integration looks like. I had to think because I didn't write a note down for talking about Kaylin's presentation, but I think it is 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So 11:30 Pacific coasters, if you guys are Pacific. Awesome. Moving on to one of the big sections that we'll cover here. A lot of cool stuff came out of last year. You've seen a few of those. And really some of the big items that we looked at we're about to jump right into. So the steps we took in 2020 really were looking to the scalability and longevity of our product suite. One of the big items that we did was we kind of look for ourselves as a hub of integration, and that's kind of what we're trying to achieve. And so one of the big integration pieces we did last year outside of PhotoLinks is that we integrated with Skylab and their one-touch AI automatic retouching. So if you don't know what that is, literally, it's basically human quality retouching at almost machine quality speed. So you get all of the artificial intelligence and all of the speed of that with really high quality. Jordan actually is going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm looking at the time right now. It's 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern. If you guys are interested in Skylab, that's tomorrow in these same webinar links in the same classes. So him and TJ Rack will be talking a little bit more about that. And if you have any interest in the Skylab, you should visit the Skylab's booth. So the major benefit of from the ImageQuicks workflow side is, let's say that you have, you know, digital delivery products where we talked about we're holding now for the digital the retouching fulfillment of those before we send the digital delivery. So this, with the process speed of what they're doing, then the turnaround is significantly faster. So we have a lot of customers that also leverage different labs to do their services, or even if you're a vertical studio and you're, you know, managing those services yourself, sometimes the turnaround speed is really dependent on when you get to it or when the lab gets to it. And sometimes those can be 3 to 4 days, we've seen. So instead of holding, you know, these products, and including the prints for that fact, you now are able to, you know, in lightning speed, shoot that off to Skylab. They turn around the image for you. The digital downloads get delivered, and then all of the prints subsequently follow. So really, the speed to delivery is something great that comes with this integration, and something that we're really looking forward to seeing how the scalability of this product gets out there. And if you guys are interested, then yeah, just those meetings I mentioned tomorrow, and then also you can talk with anyone at our booth. They'll give you all the details if you're interested in this at all. So definitely do that. And then the very last and biggest one of the year, we really look to go into the longevity of our product here. And Blueprint got a large performance upgrade. So what we did was completely rework how data flows in the front end of Blueprint. And what that means for you guys is that you get a lot better performance, like especially with those large jobs and with any jobs that exceed certain image count limits. So in our existing platform, as your image count grew and your subject count grew, you know, you saw a degradation of performance in Blueprint. But now that's not the case, and we're on the verge of a major release this year. It'll be probably next month that we're releasing this functionality. but this was like one of the big things in our focus of 2020. And so I'll share with a little bit of the performance of what we're seeing inside of the new Blueprint. And you'll see it says EAP. This is early access program. Anyone can join the early access program. This is completely open. If you're using Blueprint, you can just go into preferences, and the advanced tab will have the ability to switch from your production version to early access. So it's kind of already released to some degree out there for you to use, and we'd love for you to use it. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about all of the performance that we saw, the increases here. So we kind of set our threshold to be about 20,000 jobs. This was how many jobs were in the account that we were testing with. So in the early access builds, we're seeing a 4.6 second load for like an account that has that many galleries. And, comparing this to the production version of Blueprint, it was a 95.5% increase. We're talking about minutes, over a minute to load that in the production version. So just a massive increase in performance there. A couple of these other ones, the next two, the search and find a job later or earlier in the years, or searching for containing specific characters, like those searches are assuming that there were, over 20,000 galleries in your current account. So this is doing a search to say, let me find any 2015 job amongst 20,000 of these. And the performance of that was nearly 1 second, which was, again, a massive bump from the production version, which you're seeing a 98.6% increase. The same in the other one, it's a second search, searching that many jobs. So it's lightning fast on the front end. It's really a big upgrade to where it was. And so if you load a job with 6,000 images, this was an interesting one because I'm not sure if any of you guys have any galleries that contain 60,000 images, but it's quite a lot. And the current production version wouldn't even load that. So the new ReArc, the new early access one, loads it in 7.5 seconds. But that is a massive amount of data. So it'll definitely still spin a little bit, but that was awesome to see that, all this hard work went into it, that you couldn't even load something to now, loading it with under 8 seconds. So yeah, it's 100% increase. So it's a nice win across the board. And then some of these other ones are, considering like medium-sized jobs where you have 5,000 to 10,000 images, not crazy amount of subject counts, was kind of the baseline for these tests. And, we see as we sync one image to a medium-sized job, we see that taking 22 seconds, which was, again, all of these are huge increases from, the previous versions of that, of Blueprint. So the other ones is changing a job title and changing a subject name. And so this is an interesting difference between the production release of Blueprint as well as the new early access release. And what we did was we really went after sync changes. So the difference here is that in the current production version, you'll see that sync is one bulk process. There's no split between, say, you just change the job title or you just change the subject name. So it all bulks under one, and it can take some significant time to process all of that. What we did in the new early access builds and what we put all this performance work into is splitting sync up into several different steps. So say you just change something with a subject, well, that step will only invoke that part of the sync, which means you're not having to go through the image count, you're not having to go through images and all of that side, or job changes. So we split those three up and we were able to get massive improvements there. So you'll see on the last two steps, changing just the job title of a job, getting some nice wins there at 7 seconds, and then change the subject name is just a quick 9-second change. So, all of this is really looking towards the future of Blueprint. We invested a lot of time over last year into this work in particular. And like I mentioned, if you are using Blueprint, switch over your builds. It's super easy. Just go to the Preferences tab under the Advanced section, and you'll see a little section called Early Access Program. And it's just one click, and it will actually switch you and reinstall the performance upgraded one. And that will likely go out next month. We're targeting it's a specific day right now, but we've been in testing for about three months or so. since we've kind of completed this on our side, and things are looking really great. We're seeing great results. And so this will likely go out and be the new production version for 2021 very soon. So we're very excited about that. And then the other last mention here on this slide is we actually did, this was actually something you guys ask a lot for, is the conflict resolution is not super straightforward, or, there's a lot to be wanted in feature sets for conflict resolution. So in our sync process, we've kind of changed a few different things with how conflict resolution works, and looking to grow on that in the future. But currently, the new upgrades will consist of you having the ability to choose like specific changes when there are less than 6 per section. So of those 3 sections where you had subject changes, gallery changes like job titles, job settings, those kind of things, and then like image changes, if any of those sections have less than 6 conflicts, then you have the ability to actually choose a specific change one way or the other. If you have hundreds of them, we bundle these all up into like the ability to like use my changes, or to use like the server copies changes, or whoever made those changes versions. And so we do actually also now include a download report. So you could download the report and see all of the changes yourself in a kind of a data dump CSV format. But it doesn't quite show you what the actual person that did make the change. And so we're still trying to get to that functionality set, and that could be something that we look for, in the years to come. But this was definitely an upgrade from where it is or where it was to where it is now.